What's going on YouTube? So when Toyota first announced that they were bringing back the Supra, auto enthusiasts around the world were thrilled. And that thrill continued when they got behind the wheel. But what no one expected was that Toyota would make significant updates to the Supra just 1 year later, giving it more power, even better driving dynamics, and more standard equipment. Toyota was kind enough to send us one of these enhanced Supras for an entire week. So, without further ado, let's jump right in and see if this is the performance coupe you should buy. So when you first walk up to this new Supra, it really makes a strong first impression. This is a vehicle that looks special from the second you walk up to it, and everybody we have shown this vehicle to has been super impressed and thought it was a lot more expensive than what it actually is. Now let's take a look at what makes up that cool look. Up here in the front, it's actually rather simple but unique. So you have the hood that slopes down very aggressively. Down here in the front, you have basically three large areas to feed air into the engine, and then a very aggressive black lower fascia right here that runs through here. As far as the headlights, they also have a very unique look to them. They are of course fully LED, but you have 6 individual crystals inside, and then you have a daytime running light / turn signal that runs all through here and out the side. You do have a number of fake vents around the vehicle, which I'll show you guys as we move around to the side. But I will say, I don't really mind having the fake vents because it does enhance the way that this looks. Now, one of the changes for 2021 Toyota made was introducing a new 2-liter model as the base model. And as far as your wheels, that model will come with a smaller 18-inch alloy, although the rest of the design stays pretty much the same. These are the 19-inch alloys that you get with the 3.0 models, and they look fantastic. Definitely have a cool look with the contrast spokes, and new for 2021, we now have the red brake calipers to finish off the design. Now, as far as the tires, what we have wrapped on is Michelin Pilot Super Sport tires, and they are going to be an inch wider in the back. And as far as the brakes themselves, they are 13.7-inch 4-piston Brembo brakes. Now, jumping up here to our mirrors, they are going to always be finished in black like you see here, and on this loaded model they are fully loaded with all the features. So you have power folding, auto dimming, and blind spot monitoring. Now I will point out one other thing. You have a fake vent here, and then your side blade here is of course fake, but this looks really, really cool.
Alrighty, so before we get around to the rear design, I do want to talk a little bit about the proportions of the Supra. You probably don't really need me to tell you, but this has a very sporty design here at the side. You have that long, low hood, and then it kind of pops up in the back and then leads you to your sleek and sexy rear. I also want to mention that the rear is actually wider than the front, and you can kind of see that when you drive the vehicle because you see this part right here in the rearview mirror, which just makes it all that much more of a special experience. But looking at the rear design itself, I have to say I absolutely love it. Every single person I've showed this vehicle to has loved it as well. So you have a spoiler kind of shaped out of the metal design itself. So it's not like tacked on, but it is shaped basically into a spoiler look. Then we have our Super branding right here. And then if we go over to our taillights, these are very three-dimensional, and they are going to be full LED. The brake light as well as the turn signal are right here in this unit. And then if we drop down here in the center, this is where you're going to have your LED reverse light. This is also where you're going to find the rear diffuser area, which is super aggressive, as well as your dual stainless steel exhaust outlets. And let's go ahead and hear that absolutely wonderful exhaust note. Now Now, as far as your safety systems, they kind of pulled a BMW with this because you're not going to have like the Safety Sense Suite standard. You're going to have 3 out of the 4 of them standard though, so that's going to be forward emergency braking with pedestrian detection, lane keeping assist, and your auto high beam headlamps. However, if you want to get adaptive cruise control, that's going to be included in an additional driver's assistance package. Well guys, I could sit here and talk all day about the exterior design of the Supra. It is gorgeous, but let's go ahead and get on the inside and then we can take it out in a spin, which I know you've been waiting for. And if you haven't hit that subscribe button already, we would really appreciate it if you went ahead and pushed it.
So for the Supra, of course, you do have a standard intelligent entry system. And as you can tell, this is actually a BMW key fob, but it does have Toyota branding and a red accent on the side. And then to get inside the vehicle itself, just reach behind the handle since there is a sensor, and your mirrors will electrically fold out. Alright, and taking a look inside of this cabin. If you're familiar with BMW products, you will recognize a lot of elements of this interior because it certainly shares a whole lot more with BMW inside than it does on the outside. But let's first go ahead and talk about your different interior color material options. There's not a ton of choices, so you've got the Henry Ford selection of colors. Black, that's it. But if you choose the 2-liter or the 3-liter model, that's going to come with a leather and Alcantara seat. However, with this 3.0 Premium, this gives us the full leather seat. As far as the seats themselves, these are very nice seats. As you can see, you've got a very sporty design with thick bolsters that really hold you in place. Color contrast stitching details. And on this model here, we do have the 14-way power adjustment. So that's going to include power adjusting side bolsters, so you can tighten those up if you have a skinny body like we do, and they really will hold you in place no matter what body size you have. You do have 3-person memory seating here. If you choose the base 2-liter model, you'll have an 8-way manual adjusting seat. Now turning over here to your door trim, it is nicely finished. You have the leather armrest with the color contrast stitching detail. All this will be soft touch. Of course, both your windows are one-touch automatic, up and down. And then we have a speaker grill for our JBL sound system. Now, like I already mentioned, since most of this cabin is shared with BMW, that does mean you have BMW material quality on board. So across our upper dash, this is all going to be a soft touch plastic with a stitching detail. As we drop down below that, we have more soft touch materials through here. We have a piano black panel that runs through here, and this elevated portion, which is finished in a nicely padded leatherette. And then right here in the middle portion, this is finished in a genuine carbon fiber, and that's across all the models, so I really like how sporty and nice this looks. Of course, being manufactured by BMW means everything in here is going to fit together with precision. Now to start it up, put your foot on the brake and press the standard button. So checking out the gauges, I really love this gauge cluster. It's super cool looking. This is an 8.8-inch full digital cluster. It's included on every Supra. And like I was saying, I just really like the look of it. You got the central mounted tachometer. It does slightly change the design when you go into sport mode. And then you've got your different information that you can cycle through here. Or, since we have the premium model, it's gonna be a little hard to get to because I can't raise the camera up very high. But that right there is your head-up display. I recognize it's very blurry, but in person it does not look very blurry. It is crystal clear, and you can go through a lot of different settings using the steering wheel mounted controls. Now, speaking of the steering wheel itself, this is what it looks like. It does kind of have a BMW design, but your Toyota branding, of course. As far as the wheel itself, it is leather wrapped with the stitching detail. It's going to be manual adjusting. Heating is not available though. Alright, but let's go ahead and talk about your interior storage. Now I recognize this is not really a focus for a sports car, but you still need to know about it for your everyday livability. Now coming over here, you don't really have a center console, you just have your cup holders that are located here. Behind that you have a very tiny storage area. As you can see, the wallet and sunglasses there pretty well fill it up. I did bring along my coupons, but I obviously know they are not going to fit in there. So you're gonna have to find some place else to put them. Now there is a decent sized storage area up here in the front, however, so you can slide something on top of here. You can slide a phone underneath of that, which also is a wireless phone charging pad with the premium model. And then of course you've got your USB and your 12-volt out. Now coming back here to the shifter, this is the BMW electronic shifter, which is one of the easier ones to use. So you're just going to pull back for drive. You can bump over here to the left if you want to shift manually right here, or of course you can use the paddle shifters on the steering wheel. Go all the way up to the front to activate reverse, and when you do, you will find a backup camera, just a traditional style one. There's not a 360-degree option. You do have active trajectory as well as front and rear parking sensors. And then for park, just press the P right on top, and behind the shifter there is a electronic parking brake. Now off to the side of that, you'll notice a button you'll probably be pushing pretty often. That activates your sport mode. And then beyond that, we have the full iDrive controller, which you can use to control the infotainment, or you can use it as a touch display. We'll talk about that in just a second. And then up above that, we have our climate controls. So this is a dual zone automatic setup, very easy to use. You have large knobs and physical controls all through here. And then if you choose the 3.0 Premium, that will also throw in heated seats. Further beyond that, we have physical audio controls as well. So this being the fully loaded 3.0 Premium, that's going to throw in the 500 watt 12 speaker Toyota JBL audio system. So we'll go ahead and give that a sample right now. Overall sound quality of this system is pretty good, and it's certainly a very bass heavy sound system. Okay, let's rise on up here to our main infotainment system. So it's a little bit hard to see, but what we have on board is the 8.8-inch display. So that's actually an update for 2021 because the 8.8-inch display is now included on all the models, where previously the lower end models came with a 6.5-inch display. As far as what this display is, so this is just iDrive 6.0. You can use it as a touch display, which I mentioned earlier. And with that, you've got these same kind of quirks that go along with owning a BMW. So what I mean by that is the fact that you only have wireless Apple CarPlay. You don't have access to Android Auto at all on this model. I also will mention that this is a very dim display, and we cannot figure out how to adjust the brightness, so we may just be stupid, but as far as the standard auto brightness function, it's always very dim and very hard to see. Now moving on up here, we do have an auto dimming mirror with your HomeLink universal remotes. And then up here at the very top, you're not going to find a moonroof, but of course, if you want that open top experience, BMW will always sell you a Z4.
Now I'm going to go ahead and skip straight to the cargo section for the Supra because it does not have rear seats. So this is only a two-person car, but those two people are certainly going to be having fun when you're driving this around. But as far as the cargo area for the Supra, unfortunately there is, oddly enough, there's not a button up under the lid, so you have to use either the fob or inside the cabin, which I have found to be a little bit annoying during the week that we've had it. I wish they'd just go ahead and add that. Maybe for 2022 they will. But as far as the space is concerned back here, you're going to have a little over 10 cubic feet of space, which is not bad at all. It fits all of our camera equipment back here just fine. We even have cleaning supplies, and there is space to spare. So this is not too impractical of a vehicle. So if you're trying to sell your wife on this, it's not bad at all. You can definitely fit some diaper bags back here. And they do have a really nice finishing on the floor. We also have a little cargo cover, and you could just slide, if you have a really long item, you could slide it all the way up into the front since it is one continuous area. But anyway, let's go ahead and check out that engine because it's really pretty, so I just want to go ahead and show you guys. Alrighty, so you just have to find the hood release here, push it twice in BMW fashion, and then walking up here, if we open her up, wow, look how pretty she is. This is a gorgeous, gorgeous engine, and we're about to take this puppy out on a test drive, so I'm very excited for that, and I'm sure you are as well. But this is a 3-liter turbo inline 6-cylinder. For 2021, it's producing 385 horsepower, so that's quite a bit of an increase over the 2020 model. And you also notice this right here, this is new for the 2021 model year. It's to give it extra rigidity while driving and just make it a little bit more fun to drive. But without further ado, let's go ahead and get to that part, but we'll talk about the passenger seat real fast. Now over here at your passenger seat, you are going to have the same adjustments as the driver, which does even include the bolster adjustment. And then if we open up the glove box, as you can see, we have our coupons stuffed in here. That is going to be, unfortunately, the only spot that you can put the coupons in the Supra, but it does fit, so you can enjoy the Supra and still save on food. And this is also really nicely felt lined, so no complaints here with the glove box. And then up top, we do have a very, very thin sun visor, little cracker-sized mirror, as well as an LED light. However, it is going to be fixed in place, so you can't detach it or extend. Guys, yes.
Oh yeah. This thing absolutely scoots. So, like Mason was mentioning on the outside, they've actually enhanced the engine this year. Not that it didn't have very much power before, but they gave it quite a bit more power, actually 14% more power than last year. So this is, of course, the 3-liter turbo inline 6-cylinder. It's making now 382 horsepower, 368 pound-feet of torque.
Oh, yes.
And it is fast and sounds really nice as well.
If you have watched any of our videos, you probably know by now that this is one of our absolute favorite engines. It's in a lot of BMW products. The M340i, for instance, has this engine, and oh my gosh, it sounds absolutely awesome. It has so much pull to it. I mean, this thing is quick. And then in this particular example, this is such a light vehicle. It goes 0 to 60 in 3.9 seconds. You heard me right, 3.9 seconds. So,
and that's 0.2 fast.
Yeah.
0.2 seconds faster than even last year. So like I said, these are some big improvements that really no one expected that Toyota would already be making to the Supra.
Yeah.
Now I should also mention that new for 2021 is the fact you have a base 2-liter model. So that's going to be BMW's standard 2-liter turbo 4-cylinder, which is a good and powerful engine as well. So I'm going to go ahead and press my favorite button inside the car, the sport mode button. Yes. So this, is going to enhance things to be sportier, of course. What I like about it the most is that you get a lot more exhaust sound inside of the cabin. It's just even more ready to rock and roll. As you can see, it keeps it in a lower gear so that you're ready to rock.
Yep. And, I mean, It just sounds so good. It gives you the pops when you put it in sport mode. When you downshift, it gives the pops, and I love it. I kid you not, I don't think I've driven it for more than like 5 minutes not in sport mode, so.
Right, you want it in sport mode. Just go ahead and put it in sport mode. Now there's a lot more to the enhancements that Toyota made to the Supra beyond the engine enhancements. They actually done substantial stuff to the chassis. So they've retuned dampers. They have also retuned the electronic power steering to be more responsive. You have extra bracing, which Mason mentioned. And it just works.
Yeah.
What they've done is fantastic.
I'm sure it's great to start with, but this 2021 model, I mean, it feels so planted. I've honestly never driven a car that feels so planted on the road.
Yeah, it is absolutely glued. The steering, I mean, it is just lightning fast. Good feel to it as well. Yeah, I mean, this is just a joy to drive on a country road like this. That's really just the only thing to say about it, is just a joy to drive.
Oh, yes.
Let's go ahead and talk about the transmission. So this has got an 8-speed automatic transmission, but this is a super good transmission. It honestly feels like a dual clutch and how quickly it shifts. I was very impressed by that. When you put it in sport mode, it really just kind of seems to know what I want without me having to do anything. But you know, you can bump over here to the left and do your manual shifting and just watch how quickly it fires off shifts. It's basically instantaneous. So I mean, this is fantastic. It's just really surprising that it's like a traditional automatic. That's how good it is.
Yeah, and it does what you want it to.
Exactly.
It will shift down and rev high RPMs and give you all the snaps, craps, and popples that you would ever want. I mean, it really is fun. But as far as the ride quality is concerned, throughout the week, I've been very, very impressed with this aspect of it. We do have adaptive dampers on this. It's BMW's adaptive setup here, and it does an exceptionally good job. When you have it in sport mode, it really firms up and gives you what you want of that just planted, awesome feel while driving. But if you just have it in the regular mode, this is perfectly comfortable to daily drive. I wouldn't have an issue with this car daily driving it, besides for maybe the storage aspect of it. Definitely not when it comes to ride quality, and these seats are really comfortable as well. We're going 20 and it's still fun. Now, as far as the fuel economy is concerned, we'll talk about a little bit some of more of the basic stuff now that we're stuck behind some people on the road. If you go for the 2-liter, that's going to be rated at 28 combined. If you go for this engine right here, it's 25 combined is your rating. That is not bad at all, especially for something with this much power and performance. And I can tell you, we've been pretty heavy-footed with it so far, and we're averaging around 20 mpg in the city heavy-footed driving. So you're going to get very close to that rating on the day-to-day. Yes. Oh, yes.
Yeah, let's just go ahead and declare overall performance to today's slam dunk, because this thing is just, it's fantastic, especially when you get into the money factor. What you're getting for the money is a fantastic performance package.
Yeah.
All around, especially
The
this
engine.
motor.
Oh my gosh, the engine. I love it. I love it. And in an equivalent BMW, you're going to be looking at a lot more money to get into a BMW with this type of engine in it. Now, as far as the airball is concerned, I will talk about that. There are a few little quirky bits to this Supra. Everything else I absolutely love, but this infotainment system I'm not in love with. It's iDrive 6, and it is pretty difficult to use, to say the least. It's not very user-friendly. BMW has since gone on to iDrive 7. It's a good thing because this is not the best system ever. It's also so dim that I can't even see it in the daytime. Especially with sunglasses, it's absolutely invisible. So
Yeah, no Android Auto.
yeah, there's
just some problems with it. It's not, yeah, it's a little bit of a issue, but you know.
Focus on driving.
That's right.
But kind of circling back to what Drew was mentioning earlier with the price quotient for this Supra, this is an extremely good value for what you're getting, and 99% of the people that I've shown this vehicle to this week have absolutely been kind of shocked when I said the price. They're like, that's not bad at all. So for the 2-liter, that's going to start at $43,090, 3-liter, $51,090, and then the premium, which is what we have here, is $54,590. You can also get the A91 this year for $54,795. When we add in the destination and the premium package that this model has here, we're looking at $56,680 for this one as equipped.
But overall, what can I say except for we have had a very fun week, that's for sure. This is just such a fun car to drive, and I would imagine to own, because having this for the week, using it as a everyday driver, you can do that. This is not so hard edged that you can't use it on a day-to-day basis, but it's also tremendously fun to use on a day-to-day basis. So I feel like this actually is really a fantastic option. You know, if you don't need a lot of space, of course it's, you know, going to be tight, but if you need just 2 seats, this is really a phenomenal sports car to have, especially for the money.
Well guys, that's going to wrap up this awesome review of the 2021 Toyota Supra 3.0 Premium. This has been an awesome car to live with for the last week, so special thanks to Toyota for sending it out to us. And we also want to thank you guys, because you all make this possible by hitting that subscribe button down below. So if you're watching and you haven't hit that subscribe button, please don't be a bum. Hit it right now. Also tap that notification bell, because it affords us a lot more opportunities like this to show you guys cool cars and to be able to live with them for longer. Anyway, we'll catch you next time as we sample more of the latest automotive delicacies.